Ooh, we're live. Hello. Can people see me? Hi. How is everyone? How is everyone doing? I just think I should introduce myself. I should start off with that. Hi everyone. For everyone tuning in, my name is Vaneet Mehta. My pronouns are he, him, and I am from London, a little area of London called Southall in West London. And I am an Indian bisexual man. What else? What else about me? I am a software engineer by trade, but I'm also a public speaker and writer, and I'm also the author of this book, Bisexual Men Exist. Hi, everyone. Hot Atlanta. Everyone's talking about where they're from. Oh, we've got people all over. Okay, so we've got USA, we've got Melbourne, Montreal, Auckland, Brooklyn, Melbourne, LA. Nice. Las Vegas. Cool. Is everyone been having a good day? Is everyone excited? So remember, I'm here to answer your questions. The stuff we're talking about today is about masculinity and sexuality and men exploring their sexuality. So feel free to ask away about what questions you have. It can be anything from what is bisexual. It can be about, hi, I'm having these feelings. What does that mean? Or the difficulties you face dating, or talk to me, people. We've got Shetland Islands in Scotland. We've got Columbus, Ohio. Glad you're having a good day. Good. I'll talk a little bit about me while I'm waiting for these questions. I am 30 years old, and I came out when I was 25. But I had feelings for more than one gender when I was around 10 or 11. So in the UK, we have primary school and then secondary school. And you normally enter secondary school at 11. And so it was kind of on the cusp of leaving primary school and entering secondary school. Yeah, go for it, Callum. I'm here to answer your question. So tell me what's up. In the meantime, I'll carry on waffling. So I had feelings when I was around 10 or 11, but I did not come out until I was 25. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. One of those reasons is the fact that I didn't actually know what bisexual was when I first had those feelings. One of them was a lot of sort of homophobia and internalized homophobia, which meant that I didn't want to admit my feelings. And then, yeah, when I first heard the word bisexual, I was around 17, and someone in my school came out as bi-curious. That's what the first word I heard. And people were explaining what this girl had been saying to them. And immediately, everyone was denying it. Everyone was like, she's talking rubbish. She's just doing it for attention. All of the things that you've probably heard if you identify as bisexual. And so that was a big blocker for me. I had now learned the word bisexual, but I couldn't see it as real. So I'd internalized this problem. Bear with me 1 second. Apparently the kettle's boiling for some reason. Give me 1 second. Hello, sorry about that. So wondering how to introduce a woman into my play. We have not done that yet. She knows I am bi and open to it, but I can't figure out the best way to introduce. It's a really good question. So we've done that yet. We've not done that yet. She knows I'm bi. Oh. Tea for everyone. No, unfortunately not. Oh, that's a really good question. You want to introduce a woman? We've not done that yet. She knows I'm bi and open to it. Oh. I mean, really, it's just about asking straight up, right? She knows you're bi. She's open to it. Why not just ask her? What's stopping you? Tell me what's stopping you. What's stopping you from just going up to her and saying, hey, you said you were interested in this thing. Do you want to do it? Because, I mean, if she's already expressed interest, it sounds like she's pretty down. So I would love to know what's stopping you. Tell me more. Dan, how would you explain the difference between bisexual and heteroflexible? I've seen the latter banded about, but don't really understand it. I mean, so for me, the difference is if a lot of these differences are often really personal, so it really depends on the person who's using it. Bisexual means attraction to more than one gender, and that can express itself in a lot of different ways. The reason why someone may be using something like heteroflexible is most likely because they mostly identify as straight, but may have a little bit of latent attraction or maybe something that they want to explore with other genders. Of course, they can use bisexual. There's nothing stopping them from using bisexual. Bisexual is very inclusive of those feelings as well. But I always say when it comes to labels, it's all about a personal feeling and what you feel most attuned to. So they may not identify as bisexual, maybe because of the way it's seen. It may be because they want to be more upfront about their bisexuality, and it may be that, well, I'm 90 or 99% straight, but I have a little bit of attraction there, or I've done that every now and then, but it's not really where I see myself. I don't know if I want to be with non-binary people or men. I kind of maybe every now and then want to have sex. So it really is a personal thing. A lot of people ask, oh, why that label? Why that label? Why that label? And the problem is these labels aren't clear boxes. There's not a clear division between each of these. So it can really depend on the individual. I've seen some other questions, but I am going to come back to Michael. Just scared it could ruin what we have. So you are currently with a man, and so you want to introduce a woman, or are you with a woman and you want to also have men? Like, I explain this to me more, but I understand the fear of how it can ruin something. But really, it's as long as everyone in the room is comfortable, as long as everyone in the room is consenting and wants to do it. But you have to be really open to hearing everyone. And if everyone in the room is saying, well, yes, I want to do this, there's no reason to fear it ruining something. For all you know, you could make something better. I think it's hard when you do change and you're always wondering if you're going to rock the boat too far. But I would say that you just need to hear everyone, because everyone in the room may be just as up for it as you and may really enjoy it. Okay, I do not find myself romantically attracted to men at all, yet I am sexually attracted to some. I'm romantically and physically attracted to most women. What would you categorize that as? So again, I mean, this is again entirely up to you. Bisexual is a word that you can use, you can claim that word, and the way that you define it can be very different to the way I define it and the way that I identify in my attraction. That's the great thing about bisexual, is it's so broad and there's so many different ways to be bisexual. If you wanted to be more specific, you could say, well, I am romantically and physically attracted to women and pretty much only women. And so you can say you are heteroromantic, and you can add that in. You can say I'm heteroromantic bisexual. I'm sexually attracted to more than one gender, but when it comes to romance, I'm pretty much just attracted to women. That is an option available to you if you want to be specific about it. But you can still identify as bisexual. You could also use, as we mentioned earlier, heteroflexible. You can say I'm mostly straight, but actually every now and then I want to have a little bit of men or non-binary people. It's open. So it's really up to you. There's no hard and fast rule of what word you must use. You gotta just find what fits you and what you're most comfortable using. I'm struggling and can't distinguish between fantasy and reality. Really only physically attracted to men, and both romantically and physically to women. And is this being bi or not? I mean, that's how it started with me. Personally, I only ever used to have sexual feelings for men and never romantic feelings. And I mean, can you blame me? Like, for me, it was like a lot of men in my life, a lot of the men that I was surrounded by were just awful. They were just really terrible, and there was no way to form any kind of romantic attraction. I barely could form friendships with these people just because they were so aggressively masculine in a way that I didn't enjoy. I wasn't that kind of person, and they didn't like me because I wasn't. So for me, I struggled with that for a really long time, and it was only until I experienced romantic attraction for a man that I actually came out as bisexual. That's actually what triggered me to come out when I was 25, because up until that point, I was denying myself. It wasn't that I wasn't bisexual, it's just that I wouldn't let myself believe it, and I found excuses. And for me, I was finding the excuse of, well, I'm not romantically attracted to men. But like I said before, bisexuality is really open. It can be anything you make of it. And if you want to use that label, if you feel some affinity to that label, claim it. You don't have to have romantic attraction to men. And for all you know, you may come out, you may enter the community, and you may actually form a romantic attraction to a man. I mean, I'm in a relationship with a man now, so a lot can change. Making out is always the intro. I mean, what are we introing? Tell me more. Callum, whenever I look in the mirror and have negative feelings about my body, and I hate that as a man, I hate that. I hate my body. Ironic because I love wearing latex. Ooh, and have Insta dedicated to it. I think we don't talk enough about body issues amongst men. I think a lot of the time, and I don't think that that's anyone's fault apart from men. I think a lot of men, we say that we shouldn't talk about our feelings, and so that obviously lends itself to not talking about how you feel about your own body. There is a lot of body dysmorphia amongst men. We often get it from both sides. I mean, I'm very skinny. I'm a very skinny person. And I often used to get shamed for not being skinny. I was often shamed for being told I don't have muscles and I should work out and I should eat better and I should do this and I should do that. And I was mocked and I was ridiculed. Obviously, it's not at all the same as what fat people and larger people have to deal with. Fat phobia is very systemic and you deal with it in a lot of different areas of your life other than just bullying. But it's a real problem. There's a lot of stuff that has been said recently about bigmorphia, which is where a lot of men get so excessively into working out that it becomes really unnatural and unsustainable. They start taking steroids and all of this kind of stuff. So it can be a real problem. The way I combated it, and obviously this is me speaking as a skinny person, so there's some privilege there. I really pushed myself into what I dressed as and what I wear. I think wearing latex and having an Insta dedicated to it is such a big thing. And I think utilizing that as a way to really showcase who you are and also reach people who will give you those compliments. And you're in a space where you can't compliment yourself. A lot of time we shame people for seeking external validation. But if you can't make your own validation, find it outside. And then I think the really important thing is to then internalize that. I think as a society, we're very bad at accepting compliments. So accept the compliment. If someone is on your Insta and they're saying, oh my God, you look so hot, you look incredible in that latex, take the compliment, internalize the compliment, and keep pushing those boundaries, dress with less clothing, dress with tighter latex, show off more of it. Push those boundaries and find your comfort. That's all I can really tell you, but it's a difficult process. I really do sympathize with you. It's not easy. Is it late starting with my TV frozen? I think your TV may have frozen, so hopefully it's fixed now. Love you, Sana. Love you too. If you guys haven't heard of the Kinsey scale, that may give you some baseline. Yes, for all these terms gravitate around without having to put yourself in a label or box. Exactly. I think the Kinsey scale is a really good starting point. It's incredibly outdated now because obviously it's from the 1940s. It only really expresses attraction to men and women, doesn't mention non-binary people, agender people, etc. I also think that placing bisexuality as this sort of in-between has caused a bit of problems. People go, oh, I'm in between, I'm straight and gay. And actually, I think when you think of it as a completely separate identity, there's a lot more you can do with that. Instead of being pink or blue, why aren't we, and then like the mix in the middle, why not yellow or green or like a completely different color? It's not shades of gray, it's just a different color with a different identity. And the way that you can be within that is incredibly different. Fully bisexual, whether you can see yourself expressing any sexual and romantic interest in men and women. I don't think fully bisexual is a thing, personally. I think bisexuality takes all different shapes and forms, and really the way that you feel and identify within that is entirely a personal thing. I don't think there is any way to be fully or truly bisexual, because a lot of the time people use that against us, right? I've had people go, oh, now you're with a man, so like you're gay, right? And that's not how that works. My attraction still exists. I still see women and go, ooh, she's hot. So, I think there's no way to be fully bisexual apart from maybe I don't know. I think it's a unique experience, and there's a lot of variation. I was gonna say unless you're, but I don't think there is an unless. I think being fully bisexual is whatever you make of it. It's fascinating to see a spectrum of attraction rather than being straight or gay. I agree. I think we should talk more about other attractions. I think we focus so much on this sort of binary idea in society, and I think it's important to break out of that. I came out pansexual when I was 27. I'm now 29. Although I kind of always thought I didn't care about gender. I'm glad you managed to eventually come out. I think it's a really common thing to see that bisexual people come out a lot later in life. And I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. And I think one of the big ones is that we don't even know our identity exists. And even when we do, we're told that it's not real. I got told that a lot. Every time when I wasn't out, I would say to people, oh, what if think blah, blah, blah is bisexual? And they were like, what's that? Or, no, you can't be bisexual. It's one or the other. People would like to make us choose. And I'm glad that we've passed that. So whilst he not be in a romantic relationship with a man, he is willing to play with men. So he's only interested in hetero relationships, but open to non-hetero play. Okay, interesting. Just think about that a little bit. Huh. Okay. So I don't know if this is related to a question from earlier, but I would like to understand more. Oh, so Michael, you said you're dating a woman, and then you want to incorporate her into having. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, so if she's down for it, like, why would you think it would ruin it? Do you think that she's going to be less attracted to you? Because it sounds like you're already having like sex with men on the side, if I've understood that correctly. So I want to interrogate this a little more, because basically my understanding from what I'm getting from this is you're dating her. She knows that you are bisexual. She knows that you have sex with men, and she's down to be involved. This sounds like a great time. This sounds great. I would really like to know where your fear lies. Do you think that she may be less attracted to you because of it? Do you think that she may leave you? Do you think that she may be attracted to the other guy? Like, I wanna know a little bit more, because I think that you would just have a really fucking great time. I think it would be fantastic. I think you should say yes and have the fun, because I know so many people who do this all the time and they have a great time. And I don't think it would ruin anything. I think you would just have a really fun evening. Okay, Midasan. I've dated men, but I have a hard time with male-female relationships because the gender roles are so oppressively present and hard to get away from. But not sure if that says more about my relationship with my own masculinity. I think it does say something about your own masculinity. Maybe that like you don't like to be in that role. I mean, I think that's true for me, and I think that's true for a lot of queer people, is that we don't want to have this sort of heteronormativity. We don't want to have these like set gender roles and set ideas and set future of like we date, we get married, we have kids, we are in a monogamous relationship forever. So I think that does say something about your relationship with masculinity, but I'm saying that in a positive way. I don't think that's a negative thing. I think it's clear that you go, I don't really want to fit in that role, and in fact want to explore outside of that. I would say that if you do want to date women, have you considered bi women? Have you considered queer women? Because that may be an option for you, and they may have similar ideals to you, so they may not want to have this like set gender role idea relationship. And so it may be easier to move away from that because they will have similar thoughts and feelings to you about what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a woman in a male-female relationship. So it's something that you should explore. I would also say that, when you do date women, maybe it's about being a little bit more upfront about where your interests are or what you want from a relationship, and maybe setting that out from the beginning, because I think it will avoid you going down that trap of this is your role, this is my role. Maybe you really like cooking, and you can be like, I like to cook, and that is a really good way of opening that idea of like, oh, we're not going to have this sort of, you do the cooking and the cleaning and the this and the that, and I do manly stuff and I fix this, and maybe set some of that out. You can just say like little hints of stuff and breaking out of that. But I understand why it's difficult. I think it's the heteronormativity in society is so strong. I think it's really hard to overpower that. Brian, I cycle between periods of being interested in men and periods of disinterest. Have you any insights into this bicycle? I like that. I mean, I haven't experienced that personally, but I would say that the thing that you have to remember is that sexuality can be very fluid. A lot of the time, people expect their interests to stay the same throughout their life, and that isn't necessarily true. I know people who have gone from being bi to coming out as gay. Likewise, I know people who were identified as gay and have since come out as bi. A lot of people change. I know someone who was lesbian and then bisexual and is now asexual. So I think you have to just kind of go with it. There is nothing wrong with going through that cycle, and I don't think I can necessarily have any insight apart from it's the way your body is, it's the way your brain works. And I think, I mean, it's similar to, for example, sometimes you may really want sex and you may want sex a lot, and then you may go weeks without never wanting sex, right? Sometimes things change. There could be many different reasons. Maybe you're not in a space where there are any men that are attractive to you. Maybe there was a guy that annoyed you and you're like, oh, I can't be bothered with men right now. I think that's normal. I think it's natural. I would just say go with the flow, really. Sorry if that doesn't completely answer your question, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Colin, you're in a similar position. Tell me more. Tell me more about what the position you're in. Samuel, queer in a non-monogamous FM marriage. Okay. Love playing together with other couples. Love that. Increasingly shocked at the huge walls other men have about contact with me. Kissing, touching is almost taboo. I'm not shocked at all. I'm honestly not shocked. Um, I think, especially if you're dealing with men who are straight or straight, one or the other, um, a lot of them are scared. A lot of them are scared with engaging with that. I think a lot of men have this fantasy of having sex with multiple women, and it's often no other men in the room. And so maybe it's you being there as a little bit like, oh, this is not entirely my fantasy. Got to work around that. But I think it also is this idea of, so I talk about this a bit in my book, and it's this idea of phallocentrism. And so often people think that the identity of a person, the sexual identity, is determined by their relationship, their attraction, their intimacy, their experiences with those with a penis, right? And so I think their fear is that if they kiss you, if they touch you, if they do anything sexual with you, it will alter them, it will change them, because they see the world as binary. We have ingrained it in society that there is a binary. There is a gay or there is straight and there is nothing else. And so I think their fear is that if you touch them, what if they're now attracted to men? And what does that mean? And suddenly they start questioning their identity. And because they don't think that bisexual is valid, or they think that other people won't. I think that's a really big fear, is that what if their wife sees them like really into having some sex with you, having some kissing with you? Then maybe they might be like, oh, you're into that? Even though they were involved too. I think there's a lot of fear around that. There's a lot of fear that they will be demasculinized. It's like, oh, I'm attracted to men. That makes me less of a man. And I think that bisexuality in men is so erased. People don't accept it. And so they see that and I'll go, he's just gay. She might even see it. She might be like, oh, maybe he's actually gay. Maybe he's been in the closet this whole time. He should not have enjoyed that with that other guy so much. I guess that's also the fear with the other person, right? I think I'm not surprised. I just say I'm not surprised. I think a lot of men are scared of giving up their masculinity, and by having sexual experiences with you, it may be that they give something up. And I don't think they want to do that. It's unfortunate that some people think that one experience defines them as a person. I mean, that's exactly what I just said. A lot of people do. A lot of people think you can't experiment. You can't change your mind. You can't. It's not even changing your mind. As you go through life, we are all human people who don't fully know what's going on up here, right? As we learn, as we have experiences, as we go through life, we are going to encounter things that are different from what we believed in, from what we understood of ourselves, and that can change the way we identify. It can even happen to me. I mean, I've got a whole book on bisexuality, but for all I know, I may get 5 years down the line and go, actually, I just don't think I'm ever going to be attracted to women. I'm not experiencing any attraction to women anymore. That's a thing. And there were so many people who were like, I identified as gay for so long, and then I had an experience with a woman, and suddenly I was really into it, and maybe I am actually just bisexual. I think it's really normal, but society really shames, and I think they shame men a lot. I think we shame men a lot, and I think that is mostly done by men, or by people of other genders who uphold the stuff we've created. So I also see a larger spectrum in gender identity rather than just masculine and feminine, like demigenders. Yes, exactly. Demigenders, non-binary identities. We live in this world of binaries, as I mentioned. We live in this world of like man, woman, straight, gay. We don't seem to understand that we live. There's 7 billion of us on this planet. You really think everyone falls into 2 categories? Nothing does. Even insects, even mammals, all of them, they do not fit into these nice, neat categories. As much as biology pretends that they do, they don't. They don't at all. And they're always learning new things that go, oh, but then should they not be in that category? But that category says that they can't do that, but they can. I think we need to try and break that system. How can you find out about yourself if you're too scared to try? Oh, isn't that the number one question? And I think we as a society are so scared of trying things because what if we like it? And then it's something different and we have to question it, right? We have to question what it means for us. And I think that there is a big fear about that. Samuel, I'm not bothered by the lack of play so much as the harsh limits. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that you're bothered by the play or not. But I'm just saying that I'm not shocked about their harsh limits. And it is definitely internalized homophobia. It is definitely internalized biphobia. Those definitely come into play. It is, they don't want to be gay. They don't. They don't want to have that whole thing questioned for them. They don't want to have their whole identity come into question. They don't want to find it suddenly difficult to date women as well. I mean, especially if they're maybe they are interested in men a little bit, but if they're mostly attracted to women, there was a statistic that showed that women don't want to date bisexual men. There was one survey that I looked at that said, I want to say 81% of women don't want to date bisexual men. And actually, the reason why I started the hashtag that started the book, well, actually, the reason I brought it back, because I started it the year before, long story. The reason I brought it back was there was this episode of Love is Blind, and I don't agree with the way that he reacted, but this guy, he came out as bisexual, and then the person was like, oh, he's playing a game, this, that, and obviously it's a dating show, so maybe he was, who knows? I don't know. But it was also really like, he has just come out to you, and that's a really hard thing to do, and you should be a little more caring about it. And then there was a Twitter poll. There was a Twitter poll that was going around that had thousands of people on it. And the majority, it was like only for women is what it said. Obviously, we don't know who actually voted. And most of them voted no. And all the comments were like, he's had a penis in him. No, he just wants to pretend, blah, 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 blah. Like, I think thoughts on how to connect with them. I think all you can do is be really open. It's what I often do. I found that every time I've been open about my sexuality, I've had someone else talk about something that they never would otherwise. I've had people come out after I've talked about something. So just be really open. Be like open to having a conversation with him. You could say to him like, "Oh, I noticed you don't really want to play with each other. Like, could I ask why?" And just I would say don't take any offense. He may get a little bit, and sometimes it does just take a little bit of like reaching. You can just sort of say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with doing something with another man. That doesn't change you." You can even say to him like, "You can still identify as straight." There are a lot of men who identify as straight and still play with other men, and I think that is also valid. A lot of people go, "Oh, but they're not straight," and I'm like, who cares? Identity is what you want to make it, and if they say they're straight, then they're straight. I would say they always need to interrogate that and why they're using straight rather than a different identity. But you could say that. You could say that to him and see what they say. Be less bothered by it. I guess you could say, well, you could say, oh, I date loads of women, but I date men too. It's a lot of fun, and just be fun. Just be open. You never know. He might get really relaxed about it. He might be like, "Oh, I'm having loads of fun. You're missing out." And he might go, maybe a little kiss. And offer to like take it as fast or as slow as they want. Just say, "Would you want to try anything with me?" It's open. We don't have to tell anyone. Maybe they'll go, "Oh yeah, like you can touch me here or you can touch me there," and maybe they'll enjoy it. Maybe next time they'll want more. So I'm just taking a little drink. Also struggled with toxic masculinity in my area growing up, which did my full realization. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I dealt with a lot. I dealt with a lot of toxic masculinity. I dealt with a lot of people defining what it meant to be a man, and because I didn't fit in with it, I got called gay. I wasn't out, but I got called gay a lot, and it was not in a positive way. They were like, "Oh, he's gay. Oh, gay." Sometimes I'd use, I don't know if you had it in secondary school or high school or whatever. People using this sort of like pig Latin language, or this, I think it was called backslang or something is what they called it. Anyway, people would use that and think that I didn't know that they were talking about me and calling me gay. So people would say it a lot, and it meant that I already saw that reaction to me not being manly enough, and it definitely stopped me from saying anything more. I definitely did not want to come and say what my identity was, or what my attraction was, or what I was thinking, what I was feeling, because I was really scared of what they would say. I think that's more prevalent than homophobia in the poly circles. Their self-identity is hindered if they do something they feel would threaten their manhood. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it's a shame as well, because in this poly circle there's a lot of openness, like every time I've met people who are poly and gone into poly spaces or seen poly people, everyone's very relaxed, everyone's very open, and I think it's a really nice space for you to just try something and see what it's like. But yeah, then I think they fear what it may mean for them, and they don't want to end up going, well, I guess I'm gay, because again, they don't see bisexual, they don't see it. So they're not going to go, oh, I've done that, so maybe I'm not only attracted to women. They go, I must be gay. What does that mean? Do I have to break up with my wife? Am I going to ruin my life? And it's really sad. It's actually really sad, because a lot of these spaces, if you speak to the people in these spaces, there's a lot of bi-ness in there. There's a lot of pan identity in there. And it's a lot of people are very open to experimenting and having fun and trying new things. And so it's a shame that they're maybe not feeling that. So if you are in that space and you see those people, like, reach out to them, tell them your story, say to them, oh, I thought I was like this, and they might go, okay, thanks, and just move on, but maybe you'll click something in them. You don't know. What are some ways to meet other bisexual individuals? Isn't that the $1 million question? There is a lot of spaces. You may not know them or see them, because these spaces often don't get the kind of platform that LGBTQIA spaces, which are so often, like erased. I mean, we're on Field's chat right now, right? I mean, I've been on the Field app so I can answer their stuff. Jump onto Field. It's not just about like meeting people to have sex with, I've been having some really fun conversations on that. I've been speaking to someone else who wrote a book. We've been talking about that. You can meet other bi people through Field. But there's a lot of really, really good spaces out there. I'm on Twitter a lot as well. I think Twitter can be a bit of a mess though. So caution, but you can meet people on Twitter. There's a lot of really great ways, like if you connect with people, I mean, connect with me chat with me on Field afterwards, tell me where you're based. I'm sure I can find something for you. But yeah, I mean, I would say I've met a bunch of really cool people on Field so far, so I would say try that first, especially if you're already on the app. I'm guessing you're already on the app if you're on this. Hi, Mexico. Don't feel like you need to label yourself. Entirely agree. I would say there's a lot of power in saying I don't have a label, I don't have an identity, and really, really just taking it as it comes. I think I'm mostly heterosexual, definitely femme attracted generally. I want to experiment and see what my sexuality really is, independent of culture, but don't want to lead someone on. What do? Open. Be open and communicate. Communicate openly. If you're on apps like Field, you can put it in your in your little bio, in your little description, you can say, I'm here to just have fun. You can say what your like interests are, right? And what you like and what you're looking for. Put that in. Say, I'm interested in having experiments and attraction and this and that, and just for fun, and whatever you want to say in that. I think that is the key. That is the key. If you don't want to lead someone on, if you want to have those experiences, put it very openly. Say, I'm here to have fun. I want to have one night stands, and I want to have like single moments, and or maybe a friends with benefits, and just say to people, I'm not looking to date. I'm not looking for a relationship. And I think a lot of people will really appreciate that. I think a lot of people will go, hey, me too. Want to do that? I think you're going to find loads of people like that. Like, you're going to find loads of people who are going to go, I'm actually already in a relationship and I just want to have a little bit of fun on the side, right? Like, you get people who are ethically non-monogamous and people who are poly. Just say it really openly. I think it's the best thing you can do, because the way you lead people on is by not telling them and having sex with them and then hoping it's going to be something more, and then you ghost them. Like, that is the worst thing. How is your experience with field? I keep getting led on in conversation into dead ends. I mean, my experience has been great. I haven't been on there for dating though. I'm on here because I'm in a monogamous relationship, so I'm on here to like chat with people and have fun. And I've had some really good conversations. I would say to not take it personally though. I've had plenty of. I mean, you're always going to get experiences like that. You're always going to get people who will not follow through, people who ghost, people who whatever. I mean, this is the key thing about what I was saying a second ago, right? Communicate and tell people what you want, because then you get led on. And maybe these people aren't communicating. I would say keep sticking with it. You're gonna find people, you really are. Like, it's gonna happen, but you are gonna have some bad experiences. It's never gonna be perfect. Does anyone feel conflicted about the feeling of bisexuality, in that sometimes I am 100% bi, sometimes I feel I prefer men, and the next day I think I'm 100% straight? The bicycle, yes. I mean, I think it's really common. I think it's really common. I mean, when I first started having attraction, and I think a lot of it was me denying myself to myself, but it was like, I'm attracted to women. I'm really like this girl. And then the next day I'll be like, oh, but now that guy is hot. So what does that mean? I think it's really common. I would say that, again, there is no way of being 100% bisexual. I would say that you're experiencing attraction is the way you experience attraction. And the fact that you are experiencing attraction to more than one gender and you identify as bisexual, like that is totally okay. There's like a really great definition by Robin Ox, and I can't remember all of it, but one of the key things they say in that is that, yeah, if attraction to more than one gender, it's not necessarily at the same time, it's not necessarily on the same day, it's not necessarily the same amount, but I have attraction to more than one gender, and that can appear in a lot of different ways. And so I think that's a really key thing to remember. But I will put it in the chat as well, the name of the person. I'll get Phil to do it. The name is Robin Ox, and they're really great, and they have a really great term for it. Where was I? I found it deeply helpful to look myself in the mirror and give myself verbal compliments. Yes, I was going to say that as well. I thought I did, and I must have forgotten. I really recommend that. It feels really cringy. You look in the mirror and you're like, I really like my hair. I really like my chest. And you feel like such a weirdo, right? But it does help. And that's why I say that, like, when you get those external, so this is what I used to do. When I used to get external compliments, I used to take them away. I used to say, thank you, not reject it, say, thank you so much, take it in. And the next time I see myself in the mirror, I would say it to myself. And I would say, oh, yeah, I do have a really nice XYZ. Like, oh, I do have really nice teeth. I do have a really nice smile. And I would say it to myself. So the next time I can keep saying it to myself and I know it and I learn it and I understand it. So it becomes internalized and I don't need to fish for it anymore. Now I know I have a good smile. See, I have a good smile. Anyway, what can you say on anxiety derived from not being able to put a label on? Oh God. Oh God. I don't know a single bi person who doesn't deal with the anxiety of. I would say that it doesn't go away even when you have the label. I know so many bi people are like, sometimes I think I might not be bi. What does that mean? Sometimes I think I'm having an identity crisis again. I think it's really difficult. I think the only thing that really helps is knowing that you're not alone in that. So I think it's really good to, I think it's really good to just remind yourself that other people are in here and other people are experiencing the same thing you are, and all of that basically. Once you know you're not alone, it becomes really easy to go, okay, my anxiety exists, but it's not something that I constantly have to worry about. Colin, you said that was a 2-part question, but I cannot see your first part. I can only see the like ... and then fully bisexual. So if you post it again, then I will try and answer that, but I cannot see it, I'm afraid. I have scrolled back. So yeah, I can't read I can't see the first part. I'm really sorry about that. Feminist practice has developed some really useful tools for women on this topic, and they can be really super. Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in feminism when it comes to bisexuality. I think it's really important. I think a lot of the time we have like International Men's Day now for some reason, and my biggest objection to it is we don't need to celebrate men. Men are celebrated all year round. And when they talk about, well, men have problems and we need to talk about those problems, I'm like, yes. But the biggest thing that we can do to fix the problems men face is by fixing the problems women face. Because we have created an environment that says men are better than women, right? We have created that environment. Men have created that environment, right? I'm sorry to tell you, patriarchy is a thing. We have created this environment. And a lot of the things that men deal with, they deal with it because of the fact that we say that those traits that they're exhibiting are womanly and therefore lesser, right? So, for example, talking about your emotions, we often say women are emotional. So men talking about their emotions, that's why they say, oh, are you a pansy or are you a... I'm not going to say the word, but Pussy. We say that a lot. And we say that to men, and we tell them to man up because they're saying, we're trying to say you're being too womanly. So I think there's a lot of power in feminism and fixing those problems. The only constant in life is change. Agreed. Physical attraction is to the male organ, and just struggling if that is something I really want to pursue or leave as a fantasy, and deal with the self-shame if I try and explore. Why self-shame? I don't think there should be shame in that. Why self-shame? Tell me more, Gilly, because honestly, like, if you're attracted to the male organ and you want to give that a little try, like, I say go for it. I say have some fun. There is absolutely no shame in that. I would always say to people to explore their fantasies if you can. So I find I have some patterns of attraction. Okay. I find myself 100% romantically attracted to women, but find some men and many non-binary people to be hugely sexually exciting. I feel worried that I would be wanting short term with non-women. I don't want to cause others pain. So be upfront about that. Be upfront. Say to these people that you are looking for just sex. And I don't think there's any shame in that. I think our society often says that you can't just go out there looking for just sex. But I think it's great. I say if you want to go out there, if you're on field, hopefully you are, you should be, go on field and put it on there and say, I'm looking for just sex. Who wants to have a little bit of fun? And you're going to get plenty of people who are saying yes. You're going to get loads of people. And I don't think you'll hurt them, because if you say to them, hey, I'm not actually looking to date you, I just want to have a little bit of fun, maybe some friends with benefits, you're going to get people who want the same thing. There's been people just in this chat alone who wanted the same thing, right? Samuel's answering one of my questions for me, but I agree. Just those feelings of shame. Because, like, I mean, it's entirely up to you. Agreed, it's entirely up to you if you want to explore it or act on those feelings. But there shouldn't be shame around it. And so I think you definitely do need to unpack that. In my experiences, no way around it. You will let others down sometime. Agree. It happens. I've been ghosted loads. I have been ghosted so many times. And I am an emotional person, so I get upset. Yeah, Michael, see, I mean, like, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to be less masculine. I'm not a masculine person. I am very far from masculine. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I do that people would see as masculine. But, like, the fact that I have this hair alone, people go, feminine. And I'm like, sure, I don't care. Like, there's so much power in, like, breaking away from even just this whole, like, masculine or feminine. Like, destroy it. Destroy the system. Key is to be honest and open. Agree. I get the adrenaline shakes when I'm with men, but I don't get it with women, as it feels less taboo. Not sure if anyone has had that. You know what? I actually have. I feel like I've been ingrained to see men and women very differently. And so I don't think I had the shame that I did about, I mean, I had shame of, like, being attracted to men. But when I broke that shame, I don't think I had the shame of, like, don't sexualize men, right? Well, anytime I've, like, said sexual stuff about a woman, I'm like, oh, am I being a pervert? Am I being this? Am I being that? And I'm not saying that, like, we should break that down, because, like, a lot of men are perverts. And there's a lot of problems there with the way that men treat women. But I definitely had times where I was like, oh, being with men feels more exciting, and I have more, like, sexual energy there, while women, I see them, like, a little more romantically. And I really had to break that down, because I was like, a lot of that is sort of ingrained stuff in me of, like, the way you should treat women. And a lot of women will be like, well, what if I just want to have sex? Like, don't see me as just a romantic thing. Like, I'm a sexual being too. But it's also really careful, like, as a man, being really careful of not crossing a line, and not infringing on women's safety and privacy and all of that. 'Cause don't forget, there is a power imbalance. So totally agree. If you're clear and upfront, agreed. Yeah. I don't want to cause other pain. Others' expectations you have or expect, and less about their own expectations. Agree. I think a lot of the time, I think we have this idea that we can't just have sex with people. And I think you break that, and you're going to find a lot of people who are actually just like, I'm not in pain. I just want to have sex. Like, what's the big deal here? Yeah, I don't fit into heteronormative family-centric standards either. I hope you don't mind me asking. Hi, Ash. Is bisexuality intrinsic to sexual attraction? I have romantic feelings for men mainly, but I also like women. But does bisexual have to include sex? No, it doesn't. Bisexuality can be romantic, or it can be sexual, or it can be both. There are terms that some people use which you may or may not want to use. So, for example, if you are only have romantic attraction and you don't have any sexual attraction, you may want to explore what asexuality is. So some people will be like, I am biromantic asexual, which means that you have romantic attraction, and the romantic attraction is beyond a single gender, but you don't have, or have very little, sexual attraction. So no, it doesn't have to include sex. That is what it's called cross orientation. So that is where your sexual desires and your romantic desires don't line up. And there are loads of people like that. There's actually a whole chapter. I'm going to find it because I think it's important. Because I don't think this gets talked about enough, and I think it's really important. So I'm going to show it at the front, actually, in the contents, because that's easier. But there's a whole section in my book, which is M-spec and A-spec. So people who are have sexual attraction or romantic attraction to more than one gender, but don't necessarily have the other. So I think read up on asexuality. I think that'll be really important, and I think that you may learn something. I'm a woman who chose not to date straight men for feminist reasons. Agree. And I have to say, it's really hard to find bi guys. Our society is so narrow-minded. You're not alone in that, because bi men don't come out. There are statistics in the UK. I know there's ones in the US as well, but I can't name them on top of my head. Statistics in the UK showed out 14% of bisexual men are out to everyone in their family. 46% are out to no one in their family. When you compare that to gay men are 59% are out to everyone in their family, and like 10% aren't out to anyone. It's worlds apart. It's worlds apart. And it's because of the fact that society is narrow-minded. Society doesn't accept bisexuality. Society rejects it in men. It's really difficult. I would say, I mean, Field, we've already talked about it. I think if you're on the apps, I would say play around with who you're looking for, and I'm sure you'll find some. I've found plenty. There's more than you think. And there's a lot of other community spaces that I'm sure you could go to. I can give and enjoy giving, but can't really receive even though I want to. Help me become comfortable or to kick my internalized homophobia if that's what it is. I don't think it is. It could be. It could be. And I think that's something that you're going to have to like break down for yourself and really understand whether there is something wrong with you. Not wrong with you, but like there's like an internal thought in you of going, oh, I don't want that, or you got to really interrogate it, and it's probably only going to happen when it's in the moment, which might be a little bit awkward of like you're having sex and going, oh, do I want this? But some people enjoy different things, you know? Some people really, really love giving and really get a lot out of that, and don't really get a lot of sensation from bottoming or receiving. And I don't think that that is internalized homophobia. I mean, like, I definitely feel that sometimes. I don't tend to receive, but sorry, I might have just gone way too much into me and my partner's sex life. I don't tend to receive, but that's not because of internalized homophobia. It's just I often don't feel a lot. I don't go, ooh, I don't get a lot. I'm like, okay, that's a thing that's happening. It's fine. You can do it. I'm just not getting a lot out of it. For clarity, I feel I possibly classify as mostly heteronormative, but I've also been attracted to very few men and a few non-binary. I'm open and trans women, and I'm open to those things, but need to it. I mean, again, what your identity is entirely up to you. If you want to still identify as heterosexual or straight, then you can do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, you're new to it, so it might change. Be open to that. Can you be both straight and bi and pan all at once? Because each situation, the feeling seems unique, and I enjoy the description of fluidity. I'm sure there is a term for it, and I can't remember it on the top of my head, but you're more than happy to like use queer as just like a really good catch-all. You can also just like not use a label. You can absolutely be fluid. I don't know if there's a specific word apart from maybe just like sexually fluid. Because I know there's like gender fluid. I don't know if there's like sexually fluid. I don't know. But there are plenty of people who experience this. Like, you're not alone in that. And you can definitely be straight and bi and pan and gay and whatever you want all at the same time. And it could very much differ and change. So yeah, be open to that. That's unfortunate. What made you choose to limit your dating pool for political reasons? There are a few straight cis men who are feminists also. I mean, it's true. It is true. There are a lot of straight cis men who can be good guys. But I also understand it personally. Maybe that's me being really rude, but I kind of understand it. I'm like, straight men don't kind of sometimes buy into a lot of that nonsense, you know. But I would also say that, like, be careful about fetishizing bi and pan men, because there could be bi and pan and whatever men who aren't feminists and are also equally as bad. Just because we're bi doesn't mean that we're all knowing and all perfect. Binary discourse really limits my options. Yeah, and we need to fight those binary ideas. Yes, we do. Do we find most men bi? Oh god. Oh, we're running out of time, guys. We're running out of time. We've run out of time. I would say, if you want to carry on this discussion, if you are on Field, don't forget we have a group chat. I am going to get Field to post the link. Let me grab that. Hang on. So if you want to come and join us, oh, that is not the link. If you want to come and join us, please come along to the Field group chat. It's going to be a really great time. I'm going to still keep walking along there because we have run out of time now. If you do want to talk to me more after all of this as well, you can Google my name, Vaneet Mehta. I have a very, very unique name. And you can also find me at the very professional handle of Nintendo Mad 888 on every social media. So please come say hi, come talk to me on Field. I'm also on the Field app, so you can talk to me in and out of the group chat. Like, come say hi, and let's keep talking, because this is great.